What's up, everyone? We are back for round 16 of RMFantasy SXperts. I'm Chase, here with Christian, and special guest, the 7 Deuce Deuce.
What up, boys? How we doing?
Got Adam Manteknapp on the entire show today. Adam, thank you for joining us.
Yep. Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Right on. Well, we're getting into round 16, Salt Lake City, our home race. We're excited, but before we get there, let's get into it. This is our race recap. All right, so you guys saw it, round 15 last week in Foxborough.
What everybody's talking about.
We got a lot to talk about, but before we get into that, let's talk about our results real quick. So Marvin Muscan got his, third, fourth win of the year?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Right around there. Eli Tomac, second place. We got to talk about that.
Yep.
Jason Anderson cruising home in third. Blake Baggett, congrats. He got fourth. Dean Wilson, his
Second top five.
Second top five?
Yep.
That's right, he got second, fifth last week. And Father Time, just not quitting.
Coming in big for the wild card. Yep.
Now, last week, we have a special guest here with Adam. He's going to give us his insight because everyone is talking about what happened here with Tomac and Muscan. So, Adam, dirty, not dirty, retribution coming. What do you think?
Well, it was obviously dirty. Everybody's seen it. The thing that I was mostly bummed about is that Eli put a really clean pass on him, had a beautiful race move, a few laps before that, and I thought that was the perfect way to pass, and then all of a sudden, here comes the last lap, and we got Marvin, and he came in straight for the T-bone. If you watch it on TV, he's like literally hits his fork leg, so that wasn't too good. Obviously, it was dirty, and I think the biggest problem with it that I had was that he just went around everything and just avoided him telling the truth on the podium. So
it just makes everybody more mad.
Yeah, it's really not cool that he just kind of blah, 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 and came up with stuff on the podium. I think if you're going to do that, just own it, and everybody respects you.
I think a lot of riders would say, I would do the same thing, and a lot of riders have. But it's like, if you're going to do it, just own it.
Yeah.
Kind of when Dino took out Tickle. It's the first thing he said, it was kind of my bad, and didn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. I think, I would go back, I would do it. It's for a race win, dude. It's $100,000, but you better believe you better own it on that podium.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. We got 2 more races. Could be some more drama by the end of the year.
I'll tell you what, boy.
Christian, what do we got for stats?
It looks like we did good. We got to bring in the points here. I got 31 points. You got 15. It's been a rough year.
That up,
I got to bring that up every chance I get.
Well, thanks, Muscan. Muscan, take out Tomac for me.
But user stats were average points are about 32, so I was right on par.
Not great.
Not that great. 0 perfect scores, 20% on the wild card, which is twice as good as the average for the year. Barsha was the most picked rider.
I'm doing it.
Barsha was.
Barsha, I had him picked too. I don't know what happened to him, but he did not have a good race. And almost 40% didn't get any picks right, so it was just a rough week.
Well, it's because Muscan was the 3rd most picked rider to win.
Yeah,
so
he wasn't even the
Tomac and
first.
Anderson were ahead of him.
Exactly.
And so that shook it all up because everyone, I think, was going for Tomac or Anderson.
Yep. I kind of have a theory that 90% of the people were more pissed about the fantasy points at the time.
I was.
At the time, you're like, dude, you just lined up my
ruin it for
Yeah,
me.
you just lined up my podium, you messed it up. So
all right. Well, there it
that's
is. Those are results. Those are our stats. But now we got round 16 coming up. I'm sad there's only 2 left, but it's Salt Lake City, so let's get into it. This is our track trends.
So, Salt Lake City, racing at elevation.
Our home race.
We all know we're going to hear about that, but getting into other stuff, it's an early race. The picks close at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 Pacific, so kind of a day race. The start's kind of a small start, looked like to me, into a left-hander.
It's across the football field.
Yeah,
so
it's
short.
not going down the football field, it's going across.
Yep.
So, a lot of 180s and triples, back-to-backs, whoops sections that look pretty gnarly to me.
Okay.
Good-sized sand section and a wall jump looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Last year, a lot went down there. What do you remember?
We all remember Tomac had his legendary race. Adam probably remembers better than anyone. Because he even said on a different, somewhere else, that when Tomac goes by, it sounds like a monster.
Oh, my gosh.
Adam, give us a quick little recap of that race.
When you're Eli Tomac and you live at elevation and you're in Colorado, you got to think when you come to Salt Lake, you have an advantage. And not just physically for the lungs and the air going on, but you also have a mental advantage because you know how the bike's going to work. Believe it or not, when you take these 450s and you take that much power away from them, it's a whole different story. It's something where you know, you have to be a little bit more hard on the throttle. The jumps are a little bit harder. I know personally because I cased the finish line triple so hard last year and just rolled off and just laid there for a minute. It was like, oh my gosh. But, you know, it's definitely somewhere where Tomac has a lot of confidence. So look for Tomac to get that win.
Yep. And it was a rough race for Bogle.
Yeah.
We remember him flying all over the
He
place.
jumped across the track in the wrong direction.
I mean, poor
he
guy.
won't be here this
We
week.
missed that guy out there, but
But so last year it was Tomac that won. Anderson actually got third last year, so the altitude sickness thing with him, I think you can just kind of toss out.
Yeah.
Marv actually got fourth, and Chad Reed got sixth there last year.
yep.
So interesting.
Riders to watch out for.
Well, there you go. That is the Salt Lake City race. Just remember, early picks, so get them in, and then watch qualifying to see if anything changes for the riders that you have picked in case one of them isn't going to make the night show. But that's our track trends. But now we got a lot to talk about because with the drama that happened last weekend, we're going to discuss that a little bit more. This is our points battle.
So getting into the points battle, we know the top 3 riders are always chosen for the podium. We got Musquin, Tomac, and Anderson. Cool thing about those 3, if you think it's cool or not, but either way, they've led 73% of the laps this year, so they're always up front, and they've won every race except that one Brayton won in Daytona. So
Pretty wild.
clearly the top 3 you need to be picking. With Marvin Musquin, he told Eli to move out of the way last week. Will he do it again?
Surprise!
I don't know. Yeah, I'm almost thinking he might crack under
I know a
the pressure
ludicrous
little
song that
bit.
would be good for him.
Exactly. But
Oh, geez.
his last 5 finishes, 1, 3, 3, 1, and 3. So his average is second, but he hasn't taken it in the last 5 races. He's only finished off the podium 1 time since round 5. He's taken second or third in the last 2 West Coast rounds. And his season averages is, like his starting is 5.3, his finish is 3.36. He's got to be up there.
Okay.
And if he finishes 14th or worse, Anderson will lock down the championship. So just something to think about.
Well, if Anderson, he only needs 18 points to lock it up,
down,
too.
which I think he's going to do. And
think
then
so?
go to Eli Tomac. Last 4 standard round races on the West Coast, 1, 22, 13, and 1. So
Consistent.
he's all over the place. You never know where he's going to be.
Come on, Eli.
But he did pass Musquin straight up last week. We all saw it. So he's got the speed. He hasn't started worse than 4th in the last 5 rounds. And he's led laps in 4 of the last 5 rounds. So he's going to be up there. I still think a solid pick to win. But the real question is Anderson. What do you think? Is he going to play it safe finally? Or
So he needs 4th or better to lock down the championship.
Yep.
Does he push for a win and say, I want this wrapped up in Salt Lake? Or if he's, say, 6th place and he just, do you think he says, you know what, I'm good, I'll take it to Vegas and play it safe there?
You know, I've actually had the privilege of talking to Jason about this exact subject. I don't know if his plans have changed towards the end of the year, more so towards the beginning, but I did get a chance to talk to him about it in about the middle of the year, and I said, you know, Jason, you got a huge lead. What's going on in your head? Do you play it safe week in and week out, or do you kind of, you know, show up and do your thing, or do you push it as hard as you can? He said, you know, it's never a good thing to be lackadaisical and play it safe because, as you guys know, in Supercross, any second, any moment, something can go wrong. And when you take off that pace that you're pushing, your focus is lost this much. And I don't think at all, even with the championship on the line, that Jason Anderson is going to back off. I'm not saying he's going to go fully all out to win the race, but you better believe Jason Anderson is going to show up like it's the same weekend, every single weekend. It doesn't matter what the points are, and he's coming out to win the race. If he ends up 3rd, if he ends up 2nd, if he ends up 4th, I think he's totally okay with that. Do not try to play it safe with Jason and say he's going to get a 5th or a 7th or whatever he needs to do. If you're going to put him in a spot, put him where you think he's going to be. Check the lap times, check everything pre-race, and go off that because Jason Anderson is a racer at the end of the day, boys.
yeah, I mean, he's had chances to play it safe multiple rounds, and he hasn't done it yet.
Well, last week he backed off, but it was a gnarly track.
And two, I think that's the whole reason that Jason Anderson's out front. You know, he hasn't done anything extra. He's not trying to be extra, and he hasn't done anything too slow to where he's like, you know, you can see him physically trying and worrying about the championship. That's what's so great about Anderson, and I think that's why he's winning it this year, because he really has that, you know, I'm just going to do what I do attitude.
Well, look at Tomac, 122-13-1 on the West Coast. That's 4 rounds. Like, that's how you don't win a championship.
Yeah, but we know that, I mean, I love Tomac. I respect him as a racer, but you know, we've seen it time and time again, boys.
Yeah.
Tomac worries. When he's in a situation where the pressure is on, Tomac worries. I mean, we've seen it how many years ago in Salt Lake in that 250 championship where he threw it away too. I'd like to think he's definitely more matured. I can see it. I definitely seen a change in Tomac this year, but Tomac goes down.
Do you see a retaliation this week? Or is he going to wait till Vegas? Or ever?
Quote me on this. Okay.
Uh-oh.
The
Deep waters.
Eli Tomac bomb is coming in Salt Lake City, and it's going to happen. I don't think if he's going to go physically out of his way, but if the opportunity presents itself and the number 3 sees the 25 for any position, the Eli Tomac bomb is coming.
I think it's kind of built up since last year. And
It's coming. All right.
boiling
We've
point.
heard it. Well, there you go.
Geez.
That is the points battle. Adam gave his thoughts on it. We'll see what happens this weekend. I'm just excited because I know it's going to be a good race. Between Anderson wrapping it up and between the drama with these two, you do not want to miss Salt Lake City.
Yeah,
I want to
boys.
see them get next to each other somehow. So.
Well, next up, we got to talk about it, probably the hardest picks of the week. The last 2 spots to fill our top 5. This is our weekly spoilers.
So we talked about the top 3. Now we're getting into the riders that statistically should be in the 4th, 5th range. Start with Justin Brayton, whose last 4 standard round finishes are 8, 20, 3, and 4. And his championship points just taking a big leap this year compared to last year, where he had 120 at this point. Now he's up to 247. Yeah, the points scale changed a little bit, but that's just huge.
What?
Big improvement
big
this
jump.
year. Yep. But he has only made 1 top 5 on the West this year, which was a Triple Crown, kind of a knock against him this week. And 5 of his 6 top 5s this year were all on the East. So more of an East Coast. We'll see what happens.
Right.
Then we got Dino bringing Sexy back to Supercross, where he forgot his
I'm
jersey.
bringing Sexy back.
To press day. If you saw his Instagram story, you know what we're talking about. But his last 4 standard round finishes are 5, 9, 2, and 8. Both his top 5s were on the East too, kind of like Brayton. And he has finished worse than where he's qualified in every West Coast round this year. So
Wow.
wherever he qualifies, he's probably going to finish a little
That's
behind
kind of a crummy stat.
Yeah. All right, well, next up we got Barsha. So Barsha got 8th last week. I expect more out of him. But on the West Coast this year, he has been in the top 5, 4 out of the 5 West Coast rounds that he raced in. Also, the only round he didn't get a top 5 in is when he qualified worse than 10th. So you can look at his qualifying. That kind of give you a hint on Barsha. Baggett got his first top 5 since Arlington last weekend.
Yep.
And his last 2 rates, his average start is 4.5.
Yep.
So I think Baggett, if he gets a good start this weekend, he easily has the speed to run in the top 5.
Yep.
So I actually have him in my top 5 this week.
I do too.
And rounding it out, we've got Weston Pike, who's got back-to-back 6th places. And he's got a handful of top 5s already this year. He's got 3 top 5s on the West Coast out of 7 rounds this year.
Yep.
Wow.
And he's not easy to
And
pass.
it's,
Nice.
not easy to pass.
Bulldog.
And he breaks the ground.
Yep.
But there you go. So that is our weekly spoiler. So statistically, get that out. These are guys that would be a good slot for your 4th and 5th. So make sure watch qualifying. But next up, the wild card, 15th place.
14th.
No, 14th place. Well, let's get into it. This is our wild card watch.
All right, so in Salt Lake, the wild card is back there a ways, 14th place, a tough spot to pick. We've looked at all the stats, results, and these are the guys that we kind of highlighted. Tyler Bowers took 14th 4 times in a row at some point in the season. He's also taken it 6 times as a total. Vince Freese has been between 13th and 15th 5 times this year. Kyle Cunningham, the same. Chad Reed, he's taken 13th to 15th 6 times this year. And Benny Bloss, we all know he's better than that. Most of these guys are, but he's taken 14th in 2 out of the last 3 races. So
Okay, boys, straight up, this is around my area, so I'm gonna learn you. All right, Benny Bloss, headquarters, not getting 14th. He qualified around 10th last week. Chad Reed just got on his new factory FS Husqvarna, not getting 14th. Kyle Cunningham, that's a good pick. He got hurt last week, a little bit banged up. Vince Freese on top of qualifying, doing really good and rode forward last week. Not going to get 15th. Looking to do even better this week. This kid, yeah, he might have got 13th last week, but I'll tell you what, we're in Utah. The track's going to be dry. It's just like the Cowie test tracks, and he's looking to do even better this week. We're late in the season. A lot of guys are dropping out. I'm saying your 2 guys to pick are the Frenchman Cedric, number 201 on the HEP Suzuki, and also your other guy, Kyle Cunningham, number 39.
Cedric Supercross, right?
Supercross.
I agree with that.
Well, if you don't pick Cunningham,
Straight up.
right there
You're
you
farming
go.
it.
All right, so we have one rider for the wild card this week to talk about, Kyle Cunningham and Cedric Supercross. That's our wild card watch. It doesn't get any better than that. Now, normally, we have our section called Between Two Berms, and it's just Adam on the phone, but we're still going to do it, but it's between Christian and I. So let's get into it. This is Between Two Berms with Adam Mentic now.
Flexing in my fly gear from my head to my boots.
All right, Adam, once again, thank you for joining us. Now, we got some questions for you. Give us an update on the injury.
Everything's going really good. We opted out of surgery. We didn't want to do anything to cause infection because they'd have to slice me all the way open. Everything's set perfectly in place, and we're looking forward to racing in Las Vegas, boys.
That's good news.
All right, now here's a question I have. If you had to choose one, cat gear or t-shirt and jeans?
Oh, man. You know, this has been brought up a lot, and I'm a little bit, I love Ryan Smith, but I'm a little bit bummed about the whole t-shirt and jeans. I feel like it brought us back a couple years because, you know, we're on Fox, and it's like anybody can show up off the street in t-shirt and jeans and race Supercross, and that is not the case. That kid, Ryan Smith, is a really, really good racer, and I'm just bummed that that happened. I don't really particularly like the cat
for
gear.
the record.
You're saying, but
For the record.
You gotta
For the
pick one.
record, I guess I would take the other option.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right there. All right. I got one more question, then Christian will give you a couple. Favorite current rider to watch because of style, look, speed, that whole combination?
When you see that guy out there, your eyes are on
You're like,
that
who
dude.
would you want to ride like?
Who would I want to ride like, or who do I like watching?
watching.
I love
Watching.
Anderson. I just think his style is so flowy. It's so natural. It reminds me of J-Law a little bit. But another guy I love watching is Eli Tomac. I feel like he's so harsh on his bike, and the way he rides is so, you know, demanding and commanding. It's sick to watch. It's fast, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, we know that.
Intimidating. I bet, dude.
Yeah.
I like it.
Seriously though.
All right, Christian, what do you got for him?
All right. We talk about the popular guys, same as the on Supercross, but what rider is out there putting in that work that just doesn't get the credit or exposure he really deserves?
You know, I think one of the guys is Vince Freeze. I know a lot of people kind of have seen him as kind of the villain type of guy because he's taken out so many people, and he's definitely done some dirty moves. But he has gotten so much better this year, boys. And I think he's going to even get better and better every year. And I think he's one of those guys that he's going to definitely shine. And I think he's going to get a little bit more credit here soon, especially with his last week's qualifying and his rides and just everything he has going on. He's really he's working his way up, and I'm proud of him.
Yeah, I like that. So another one, the top 3 riders, Marvin Anderson and Tomac, they've won all races except one. Does another rider win in Salt Lake or Vegas?
No, not really. And the reason I say that, not really, there's no way anybody else is winning.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. You know, it's late in the season. These boys are established. I know it's sad, but, you know, everybody mentally has kind of, you know, worked themselves in their spot. You know, now saying that, you never know. You might see a guy, but mentally, I think everybody's kind of where they're at, and they're going to finish where they're at, especially because of outdoors coming up. You know, you have a whole nother season starting, and the last thing that people want to do is get hurt before a fresh start. You know, if you're going to see a new winner, I think it's going to be at Hangtown over the last few races of Supercross. We're all beat down. I mean, I'm injured. There's a bunch of injuries going out. Barsha just came back. I think it's going to wait for the new season.
I'm going to have to agree.
All right.
And then the last question we have, you're the top music-selling Supercross rider on the planet right now.
Yeah.
If you could feature any past or present rider on any song, who would it be? Kennard, Wyndham, Bubba, Nate Patchy Adams? Who do you got, dude?
To be totally real with you, it would probably be James Stewart. James Stewart, I mean, you see this 7 right here on the front of my number plate?
Hubba Dubba, call Bubba Scrubba or whatever?
That is the reason that I have a 7 in the front number plate. My birthday is 5/22, and that was my first number that I picked with AMA, and my second number was my favorite rider in 22. So that's why I picked. That's why I have 722. And actually, James has made a couple rap albums before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he has a little hip hop
way.
background. So not an album, but he's been on some tracks. So yeah, I'd definitely like to be with
Let's
James.
make that happen. I gotta hear that.
that'd be
I would
pretty
definitely
cool.
be.
I
buying
think he's
that,
too.
so.
I think he's too busy being a dad, but you know, it's all good. Maybe one day. You never know.
Now, last thing we are going to do real quick before we lock it in. If you'll notice, there's a number plate in front of Adam. Adam, will you do the honors?
Absolutely, boys.
Throw your Herbie Hancock.
Adam is signing this, and we're going to give it away to one of our lucky listeners out there, watchers, viewers, whatever you want to call it.
Whoop whoop.
Comment below. Tell us why you want so badly to take home this signed number plate from the 7 Deuce Deuce.
That's gonna improve your life.
Let's go, baby.
gonna improve your
Dude, this
quality
thing
of
is
life.
sick. You know what's pretty? I don't even have one of these. That's how rare these things are. So sick.
That's how we do it at Rocky Mountain.
I wouldn't mind one either.
All right. Chris, you know what time it is.
All right, let's lock them in.
Let's do it. All right, so here they are. My top 5. Eli Tomac. Now, I know people think, well, he's going to take Marv out. He's going to be so far ahead, like Adam said. Tomac wins. Musquin second. Barsha, Colin, is going to get a second podium of the year. Anderson, 4th place, wraps up the championship. Blight Baggett for 5th. And Kyle Cunningham as my wild card.
I like what you're doing. I'm still gonna put Pike in my picks, and for some reason, I just think someone's gonna boot him off the track, tell him to move.
Where you got Pike then?
2nd place, I got Jason Anderson. 3rd place, I'm moving the orange KTM of Chupacabra up there.
That's a good pick
Just
right
feeling
there.
it there. Justin Barsha 4th.
I don't like Barsha 4th at all, but whatever.
I'm putting Pike in my picks in 5th. The West Coast, and Kyle Cunningham, I think you sold me. I think I'm leaving in that wild card spot.
Yep.
There you go. Locked in.
No Barsha?
No. You want to
not
know why?
feeling it?
Because he just came off that injury where at high altitude he's going to be a little bit mental. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Could be. Getting me all confused over.
What do you guys think? Comment below. What do you have in your top 5 this week? Because we want to know, and we love talking to you guys out there. But now it's time to talk about why we play Fantasy Supercross.
That's right.
Let's get into it.
Prizes.
Prize recap.
All right, so before we get into prizes, we got to go over last week's trivia, which the correct answer was Tyler Bowers. A lot of people got it right. Greg Kerr, Nolan Christofferson, Cooper Peters, Robilly 195X, Jason Hull, longtime commenter. But this week, the question is this rider, he never says die. He's been to every round this year except round 3, but barely made his first main of the year last week.
That's a lot of dedication, and a lot of time and money.
And a lot of traveling.
Yes.
So give that man some credit. Hit him up on his social media. Think about who it is, figure it out, and we'll let you know next week.
But now, this is why we play Fantasy Supercross. Because remember, it is free to play. And all you have to do is just sign up on RMFantasySX.com, create an account. You can play in our group, Team RMATVMC. You can play in the 7 Deuce Deuce crew, talk smack.
The biggest group, baby. Come on.
I promise you, watching Supercross will never be better than when you're playing with Fantasy Supercross.
Absolutely.
But here's why you want to play even more. Grand prizes this year, we've got 10 of them. First place, Race Prep KTM 450 SX-F. Second place, Race Prep KTM 250 SX-F. Third place, you are going to Monster Cup for a VIP experience. 4th place, we're going to take you down to Moab, have a Red Rock getaway, do some rock crawling, have a good time. 5th place, you go to Dunlop Proving Grounds in Alabama and get to check everything out that they got going on down there.
Can't be mad about that.
6th place, Alpinestars Gear and Casual Package. 7th, Milestone Video Game Supercross the Game Console and 4K TV. I need that setup.
Dang.
8th place, Motion Pro Tools is hooking it up. 9th place, you get a full set of Tusk Impact wheels. And in 10th, you get Oakley goggles and sunglasses.
That's right.
That's just grand prizes.
Then on top of that, if you joined late, you've had a bad year, you're still in the running, there's 100 chances for you to win this week. The prizes start out with a $700 spending spree from a Cherubies, Bell Moto 9 Carbon Flex helmet, Pirelli MX32 mid to hard tires, and then other prizes from Pro Honda, EVS, Cycra, Recluse, Motul, ODI, Scott, and of course 90 Rocky Mountain gift cards. So 100 chances to win.
That's what I'm talking about,
100
boy.
chances to win
Hooking it
every
up.
single weekend.
And it's free to enter.
Free to enter.
Free.
What?
Yep.
Jump in there.
There you go. Well, you know what? Thank you so much for joining us this week, Adam.
Yep. Thanks to Adam.
Always
you,
making the
boys.
show better.
Thank you, boys.
So make sure tune in this weekend. Remember, early race, get your picks in early, watch qualifying, comment below, talk smack. What do you think? Are we right? Are we wrong? Are we right on? And also, what did you think about that Mooskin pass on Tomac?
Yeah, we want to hear it.
We want to hear it. There you go. I am Chase
I'm Christian.
and
I'm
the
Adam.
7 Deuce. We'll see you next week.